Would you like to tell us about your role and your collaborations with the Department of Education?
My role is to lead the virtual school for looked after children in Oxfordshire, and there is a virtual school head teacher in every local authority. It's one of the 6 statutory roles in every local authority. Most local authorities have set up a virtual school as a result, which means that we hold every child in care to our local authority on our virtual role. That's the virtual bit. We monitor their attendance, their attainment, their progress, their outcomes, and we intervene and work with all of the partners as necessary. So I went to work with the Rees Centre at Oxford University on a knowledge exchange programme with the aim of taking their research and getting it out into practice and improving the links with practitioners informing the practice informing the research that the Rees Centre were carrying out.
Thanks. Would you like to tell us a bit more about the aims of this project and the main partners?
My role specifically in this project, it was a broader project where there were national outcomes, but my role specifically was to develop local links between the Rees Centre and practitioners in Oxfordshire. So that involved linking the Rees Centre with various meeting systems and cycles within Oxfordshire, so the Children in Care Council, getting them properly into the meeting cycle, key people in social care, as well as developing links with the Oxfordshire Teaching School Alliance, key head teachers who would be interested in partnerships, and then on a much more on-the-ground level, to develop evidence-based practice in schools, because the feeling was very much that busy teachers might take ideas very quickly and apply them without necessarily thinking about the context of their particular school, the validity of the research that they were trying out, how best to actually go about that intervention and how best to evaluate it. So as a result, I took the research I had access to in the Rees Centre, and more broadly, because I had access to the whole of the Oxford University Library, and developed 5 knowledge claims. So from this very strong evidence base, I came up with 5 statements that could be unpacked with research, took them into schools and said, right, what specifically speaks to you, and schools chose one and are carrying out a small piece of action research to really just look at and think more deeply about what they could do to improve things and then evaluate whether it's improved things or not. I've also contributed to the national project around this knowledge exchange programme by adapting the Education Endowment Foundation toolkit specifically for looked after children. So where that is a toolkit that uses meta-analysis and systematic reviews, this is honing in on a specific group of children and looking at those interventions that may have a different impact on this specific group of children because of their different needs. And that will form a national forum for discussion. So teachers and virtual schools will read it, will post up examples of interventions they've tried, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and will spark discussion, but spark discussion based on the research that they've read about that intervention, specifically about looked after children.
Great, thank you. What would you say were the main knowledge exchange successes, and how did you judge success?
I think to go to judging success first, the idea was to develop sustainability. So I was there for 6 months, and to have built those relationships for the Reece Centre, and to get the Reece Centre out there into going regularly to Children in Care Council meetings, for example, to have those relationships with key head teachers, social work leads out there in Oxfordshire, means that the dialogue, the knowledge exchange can continue to happen quite naturally. And that has happened, and we did a joint evening where teachers from Oxfordshire, and we had a lot of head teachers come along, exchanged examples of their projects around implementing pupil premium, using pupil premium. There will be another one in 6 months. There is that relationship will continue, and the first part of the question, I went to the second part, didn't I?
It's fine. The first part of the question was about the main knowledge exchange successes.
The main knowledge exchange, yeah. So how did we? So there are the successes. The aim. And another measure of success was to encourage teachers to reflect more when they hear about something. It's not that happened, that works, I'll apply it. That they pick up that idea, that intervention, they question the validity of it, they question its relevance in their own context, and then they work to apply it within their own context. So the adaptation of the Education Endowment Foundation Toolkit is a specific example of that, where teachers will be more reflective about their own context and will share that reflection.
Thank you. What difficulties did you encounter, and how did you deal with them?
It's time. I think really it's quite a time-consuming way of going about. You need to pull a lot of partners together from a lot of places. I started with 4 schools interested in doing research. 2 of them, for time reasons, haven't carried on with it. I'm hoping they're going to eventually, but right now we have 1 primary school and 1 secondary school carrying out this action research, which is interesting in itself. Trying to get people together for the meetings, trying to build those relationships and keep them sustainable, so that those meetings, those relationships don't just happen because I'm there. So it was about developing a joint understanding. It was about making sure that people understood what value each other had for each other, and the fact that they have continued to meet, they have gone off with other projects, I think is showing that sustainability has a chance. Whether it will come on, I don't know.
Has your understanding of knowledge exchange changed before and after this project?
I had never been involved in a knowledge exchange programme before. So I had it explained to me. I didn't really know what it was going to look like. So in that respect, yes, because I've learned what it looks like.
Great. What advice would you give someone who is about to embark on a knowledge exchange project?
I found pretty quickly that a framework for actions and a time frame for them was really important. So I had what did I want to achieve by the end, what were the aims of the project, and then an action plan just in a simple grid. How many days of the programme would I dedicate to it, because it's quite an elastic thing, I think, because you start finding a lot out, and you start building all these relationships with people, and you could very easily just get sucked down that path. So a very, very clear action plan that is reviewed constantly. I did 6 months. It took me far longer because I ended up finding a piece of work that was going to take far longer. It took nearly a year. So you use your contacts as well. I mean, use who you bring. It's about relationships. I suppose that what I said before was, as long as all the parties involved understand what the other party can give to them, then you're going to bring something together. You're going to create a new knowledge in the middle of all of that.
Thank you very much. That's very interesting. Thank you.